Summer love, it's all around. In every laugh, in every sound, we'll dance.
Hello folks, it's Thursday the 19th. I am in Leominster, Mass. If you look at it, it looks like it says Leominster. That's the way it's spelt, but it's pronounced Leominster. And in Bostonian, it's Leominster. So I'm in Leominster, and I'm at the birthplace of Johnny Appleseed. It's not a big project here, but this is actually where Johnny Appleseed was born. For those of you who don't think there was a Johnny Appleseed and it was just a fairy tale, there really was a Johnny Appleseed, and he really did throw apple seeds around trying to make apple orchards. So I'm gonna do a voiceover a little bit later with a little bit more about Johnny Appleseed, but I want to show you his birthplace. Okay, so hold on. And Johnny Appleseed, this is somebody's house, as you can see. So this right here, near this site was born John Chapman, known as Johnny Appleseed, September 26, 1774 to March 18th, 1845. So they put this here in 1963. And this is Johnny Appleseed. And this is supposedly his house, I guess, or what it used to look like. He lived very poor. The birthplace of Johnny Appleseed. John Chapman, better known as Johnny Appleseed, was born in Leominster in 1774. They lived on what is now Johnny Appleseed Lane, which is what I am on right now. I'm on Johnny Appleseed Lane, and right down the street is Johnny Appleseed Way. John's mother, Elizabeth, succumbed to tuberculosis before he was 2 years old, so he never really knew his mother. Somewhat deranged. He was kind of a nut, I guess. He had some mental illness, wearing a tin pot for a hat. He spread apple seeds in Ohio and Indiana, but in reality, this pioneer was an orchardist and was an astute and practical nurseryman who set out orchards and sold on gave trees to the pioneers. He was accepted by white men as an eccentric and by Indians as a medicine man because he grew and distributed herbs to them, herbs that still grow wild near his old nurseries. He was deeply religious and a follower of Emanuel Swedenborg. I am also a Swedenborgian. After braving 50 wilderness winters in peace and harmony with the land, Johnny Appleseed died in Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1845. He planted seeds of love as an itinerant preacher, as well as apple trees throughout much of the Midwest. Walt Disney gave Johnny Appleseed worldwide recognition in 1948 with the release of Melody Time, in which Johnny Appleseed was depicted as an American folk hero. So, Johnny Appleseed lived here, okay, and he began his pilgrimage in 1797 from here and went to Ohio and Indiana. During the War of 1812, he saved countless lives by being a peacemaker between the Indians and the settlers. So he was a very good man. But this is where Johnny Appleseed lived, folks. This is it. If you thought that Johnny Appleseed was just a figment of somebody's imagination or it was just a Disney movie, nope. This is really Johnny Appleseed's, about where he lived. They don't know exactly, but they know that it was around here. So this was his, whoop, I can't see in there, and neither can anyone else, and I can't open the door. So this is just a small replica of what his house would have looked like. But this is Johnny Appleseed, folks. This is where he was born, and there is at least 2 feet of snow on the ground here still. And that's it, John Chapman. All right. This is it. He lived around here, so he could have lived up back here where the woods are. But back in the day, this was all woods. And this person's probably not happy that everyone stops and walks into his yard, but good old Johnny Appleseed. Seeing this was interesting. So they got the Johnny R.O. Veterans Memorial Park, honoring all Massachusetts casualties in the war. And it's closed, even though the fence was open, it does say closed. And it's probably because there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. But I I just had to see this because there's a tank here. And it says, I'm kind of a big deal. All right. So Johnny Appleseed was up that way. Okay, this is Johnny Appleseed State Park. And they got like railroad ties here to walk on. But it's in the middle of like an apartment complex, like condominiums or townhouses. It's an odd place to have a state park, an entrance to a state park, right in the middle of a development. And this is odd, these railroad ties. Oh, they end up here. So I don't know what's in Johnny Appleseed State Park. I don't know if it's just a park and you just walk around it. I guess that's all it is really, is just literally, I'm gonna just walk up here and walk back just to see what it was like. But this is treacherous. These railroad ties are treacherous. But I think they might have been better off not putting anything here unless it's really, really damp. But this is not much for Johnny Appleseed up here. This is Johnny Appleseed State Park. So walk up here just a little bit. So Johnny Appleseed, I guess, was a strange character. He was a little weird. He was a little odd. But I guess he was a very kind, gentle individual, to a point where he could even get the settlers and the Indians to keep from killing each other back in the Old West. So he was also fairly intelligent too. He was an arborist. He really did plant apple seeds, but not just like a couple of trees, orchards. So yeah, this is just walk around here. It would be nice if it was summer. But I mean, if you can see, folks, there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. This is, I mean, like, it's beautiful. This would be nice in the summer. I'm gonna come back here in the summer and do a full video on Johnny Appleseed and the state park. But right now it's just, must be a lot of deer out here. But right now, I mean, listen, we got hit with a snowstorm a couple of weeks ago, and it left 2, in some cases, 2.5 feet of snow. So there's 2 feet out here, and it was hard just getting to Johnny Appleseed's birthplace because I had to walk through knee-deep snow. But I will, I'll come back to Leominster. Again, it's spelled Leominster, but it's pronounced Leominster. So Johnny Appleseed, he was a good man. Yeah, he didn't stay here though. He left to go out west. So let's take another look at the woods out there. And this would have been what it looked like in Johnny Appleseed's day. All these woods. There was no development back then. You had small little log cabins. So it was, this is, I guess, you know what, this state park probably would have made it really, this was really probably what it did look like back in Johnny Appleseed's day. Just woods, some small cabins here and there. I mean, you're talking 1767. There was nothing developed. But anyway, I'll come back out here in the summer when it's beautiful. The leaves are all bloomed and there's not 2 feet of snow. I mean, just take a look at Leominster looks like. It's not a very dense densely packed area. You're gonna hear my GPS too, but this is just pretty rural, although it's rush hour now, so this is a main road. You'll see a lot of traffic. But it's very woodsy. Like I'm looking, like the houses that are over by the street, I'm looking behind those houses, and it's all woods. So it's not a very developed area. It's not a very, Leominster's not a very developed town. In a lot of ways, it's still like it was in 1776, as far as the land. To take a little bit of the back roads just so that you guys could see what the town of Leominster looks like. Today's a pretty nice day. It got up to about 32 degrees, which is pretty warm for what we've been getting for the last couple of weeks, -0. Well, with the wind, it was like 9 degrees out, but then with the wind, you got a wind chill, so then you're below 0. But today there's no wind. It was pretty sunny, 32 degrees, not bad. Not enough to make 2 feet of snow melt, but still not bad. You can see the hills above, in front of me, above. So there's still a lot of trees, very rural, though we are on a main road. Up here. I've been to Lunenburg a few times. A lot of good skiing in Lunenburg. They have a mountain. It's going to take me probably an hour and a half to get back to where I live. That yellow light, hopefully there's no cops around. It is 3:45. Rush hour around here starts anywhere in around the Boston area, or even out, way out here where I am. Is rush hour starts about 2:30 now. When I was younger, like 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, rush hour was literally 5 o'clock. But now rush hour is from 2:30 to about 7 p.m. At 5 o'clock, the highways are a parking lot. And speaking of park, I guess if I had gone into the Johnny Appleseed Park just a little further in, they did have like a little monument. It was just a little rock with his name on it, but will go when the warm weather and the trees have bloomed. It'll be nice. Like these trees right now that are covering the road, they'll be all full and bloomed. It'll look nice. But I really wanted to see the birthplace of Johnny Appleseed. Some people say he was a saint. We're entering Bolton. Lunenburg, Leominster. And there really are a lot of orchards, apple orchards out here. Thanks to Johnny Appleseed, John Chapman. But there really are a lot of apple orchards in this area. Lunenburg, Leominster, Bolton. And it was specifically because of Johnny Appleseed. This is what we call in New England a rotary. I don't know, sometimes other people call it other things, a circle, but this is a rotary. Let's see, which way are we going? Are we going up this way? But I guess this would be a nice area to live in. I mean, with your kids, you know, we're very woodsy, very rural.